Good evening. Well, we have a lot of medicine bottles here that have personal information on, prescription numbers and names and stuff. And, when we throw these into the recycle, it's a chore trying to scrape off with a razor blade. I tried doing one. It takes forever just to scrape everything off. A black magic marker doesn't cover good, and you have to keep going over it. And so what we're going to do here, I got two metformin bottles over here that I'm going to keep to put in the shop. Those I'm going to save, and I'll just put masking tape around the label and label what's in them. But here, we got a little bit of black paint in here, and we're going to just try to paint these. And I got to get my glasses on so I make sure I paint the lettering. And I don't know if this is going to work or not. If not, we'll just throw them in the recycle bin the way they are. Okay. Covered good. That's good. That one over here. And over here. That's good. I don't care about the name on it. It's just the prescription number I'm worried about. It worked out pretty good. While I'm doing this, got an update on the car, and it's not good. Today is Friday. Now, for the longest time, I've been seeing the car sitting in one spot and not touched. So I went over there today, and he was working on it today for several hours. And it is not the crank sensor. It is not the ignition module. He's got more tests to run, and he seems to think it's either ECM unit, in other words, the computer, which would be our luck, or the wiring. Either one, it's going to be labor intensive. So, he's going to be working on it tomorrow. He's only there till 1. And he's been working outside on it, and that's why it hasn't been moving, because it was outside. And he was doing it outside because we got some nice weather. So, I asked him about the computer, and he says, we usually can have them rebuilt. He's had them done before. He's had like 4 of them done, and one didn't work out too good. So, I said, what's a computer usually cost? You can't just get one from the junkyard, because you're going to have just as old of a unit and somebody else's problems. And he says we can rebuild them. We usually do, and he's had pretty good luck with that. And they're usually a computer's usually between $1,000 and $1,500. Well, that would be our luck anyway. But you can't get a car for that much. We paid $1,100 for that car. I think we bought it 6 years ago. But you're not going to get a 2003 vehicle for $1,100. Bought it from an individual, and we're not dealing with the motor vehicle department. I sure as hell can't. That worked out really good. So we can let these dry a little bit and I'll throw them into the recycle bin. And we'll keep these two for the shop, and I'll just put a masking tape around them, and that'll be good for that. So he's going to call me. Any updates, he's going to call me tomorrow, which is Saturday, so I won't have to keep bugging him. I didn't want to have to keep calling him and everything else. But he'll be working on it tomorrow, and I'll just wait for his call. If it's a wiring issue, well, it could be anything. It could be in the steering column, could be in the fuse box. He didn't see any fuse for the ignition. It could be the computer, and like I said, he can get rebuilt, and I guess he can program them. And I asked him about that, and he said, yeah, he does that. So he can program them for the car. Now, who knows? Maybe that's what the problem was. Why the engine check light kept coming on, even though there was no difference in the car running. It didn't run any worse with the engine check light on. It's just one of them things that it come on once in a while and then it'd go off. It'd stay on for a week, sometimes a couple days, sometimes a week, then it would go off and stay off for months and come back on again. So that could be it. But if it's a wiring issue and he can't trace it down, it's going to be a lot of work. But we kind of understood it's going to be probably, it could be in the thousands. Could be 1,000 or more. That would be our luck anyways, but you're not going to be able to get a car for that. And if you could, you're going to be dealing with other issues, with this one, we paid $500 and change to have a radiator replaced a few years ago. And that counts the radiator, the labor, because they're a very expensive job. We've had power steering pump, the water pump replaced, alternator replaced, the idler wheel replaced, and the serpentine belt, of course. And of course we had brakes. Every car needs brakes. We get about 30,000 miles on brakes, and that's normal. I don't do a lot of braking, but there is a lot of stop and go traffic. You got a red light here, you got a school bus here, all that adds up, So we get about 35,000 miles on the brakes, which is about average, in spite of what some people may say. I don't believe somebody that would say they get 100,000. The only way you're going to get 100,000 on brakes is to just never use your brakes and just downshift all the time. Okay, so anyways, that's about it. So if there's any updates on this, I will definitely make a video about it. As a matter of fact, if we get the van back tomorrow, which I don't expect to have happen, it would take a miracle, then I will make a video about it. But there is that possibility that he may not be able to fix it. There is always that possibility. In the old days, I never had any problem changing points, condenser rotors, coil, doing valve cover, gasket replacement. Never had any problem. Timing chain in my wife's 70 Dodge Polara. I've done a few of those. I've done a valve job on the 70 Dodge Polara when I was taking the automotive class back in the 90s. And done it all, done idler arms, exhausts, 63 Galaxy. I did everything like that because the older cars were much, much easier to work on, and they didn't have these damn computers in them. Now the 90 van has a computer in it, but it's limited to what it has to do. It has a speed control, on the steering wheel. That's probably part of the function of it. I've never used that feature since we had the van. And there's not much to the 90 van. It's got a throttle body, I think. I think it does. So yes, it's computerized, but it's simplified computer. These computers, when they fail, they're not supposed to kill your car completely. So I have no idea what happened. It could be in the ignition switch. Even though you turn it over and the starter turns fast, there is definitely an ignition problem. If it's in the wiring in the column, I can visualize dollar signs all over the place. But it's still cheaper than buying another car, That's why I love the old cars. I love the cars that did not have computers in them, because you can fix them myself. Of course, at my age now, it's getting harder for me to do these things. Okay, folks. I think we'll throw these in the recycle. This worked out really good. Just want to make sure all the personal information is off of it. This can's almost empty anyway, so it doesn't really matter. I didn't want to use this. This was a new can right here. So, getting hard on the finger pushing this. Okay, I think we always save the nozzles. I have a cover that goes on the paint can, loaded with these little nozzles of all different types. So I always save the nozzles. Matter of fact, it's covered like this here. So I save the nozzles in case I need them. Alright, so this goes in the recycle. All these will go in the recycle. This is empty, and I don't have to use my new can. This I had for quite a while. That's when you used to be able to get cans for $1, spray cans for $1. Those days are gone. Okay, so that's where we're at right now, folks. So we're going to give you an update as soon as I know what's going on. It could be hopefully by tomorrow afternoon, which is Saturday. Hopefully I'll get some good news, or most likely I'll get bad news. But once I know for sure what's wrong with it, and hopefully he can find out what the actual problem is, you will know. Thanks for watching.